Howdy folks, it's the Tall Turtle here. Welcome back to a major texture pack update. The reason why I'm waiting for things to load is because we have shaders again. Optifine 1.16.1 Pre-2 is out at the time of this recording, which means we have shaders, which means your anti-aliasing is great again. And everything is awesome, even that Enderman teleporting around for some reason. So like usual, if you haven't seen the previous texture pack update videos, watch those first so you have an idea what's going on. And if you haven't, or you have seen them, let's continue. What is that back there? It doesn't matter. Let's go. We got a lot to do today. Alright, so we have two overworld things to do before we head into the nether. This is mostly going to be about the nether if you're keeping track. But a few things I wanted to show you. First of all, I had to fix the conduit. I happened to come over here for something and the conduit is broken. It's a new texture model, so it looks exactly the same to you, but I had to change a whole bunch of things and fix it. So we have our conduit back, the eye open closed and the conduit open closed as well as in your hand. I also changed my sea pickle to be a real pickle instead of asparagus. So that's a real pickle. That's what it looks like underwater planted. You can still do up to 4 on a thing. This is what it looks like in your hand and single, and there's a dead version now, which is new. If you plant it, it doesn't have a stem. That's the only difference. So those are the two overworld things. I changed the sea pickle to be a real pickle and the conduit. So let's head into the nether and let's talk nether today. Alright, so the first thing you're going to notice would be my netherrack texture, which I've been wanting to show you for a long time. I can finally show you what it looks like. I'm quite pleased with this. It still keeps the general idea of netherrack, but it's not as gory and it's photorealistic. I'm not going to tell you what this is a photo of because it'll ruin the effect. But there you go. Since this is the texture you see most in the nether, I wanted to make sure I got it right. So there's a little bit of pattern to it, but I feel like it's pleasing on the eye and completely tolerable and acceptable. And I'm so happy about this. So very happy. So then that leads us to the ores. We have nether quartz, which I put over here. This is, or I didn't put over here, but this is what the nether quartz looks like. Kind of like flat layers of quartz. If you were to dig it out, you would get like the flat cleavages, if you remember rocks from either high school or college. And that on the outside it's like this, and on the inside is a chunk of quartz. Once you carve away or chip away at the netherrack, you get some nice quartz in there. So there's the quartz texture. It is real quartz, or well, real imitation quartz that I overlaid on there. And then we have the gold, which is, I don't know if I used real gold, but it was like an imitation gold there as well. So there's your gold ore in the nether, one of the new ones. And then ancient debris is going to be quite obvious to spot just because it's ancient debris. So there's chunks of it in the netherrack, so it needs to be very different from the netherrack, and the default texture is. So there is your ancient debris. And then let's bring up the scraps. What is it? Scrap. Netherite scrap. So you take the ancient debris and you get netherite scrap, which I have in my hand now, which you can't really see from any of these angles, but it's there. It's a scrap of that. And then of course you can make netherite ingots and all that stuff, which I need to work on. So let's just cruise around the nether here and you'll see the netherrack, the quartz, the gold, and the ancient debris. And then some of the existing things like the lava is red craft and the glowstone is red craft. The fire is still default though. The torches are mine. The mushrooms, I left the regular brown mushrooms to be red craft, but we'll look at the other mushrooms in a moment. I did some special things with that. So moving along, look at the soils here. I think there's soil. Yeah, if we go up in here, we'll see a bunch of soil. Yes. Soul soil and soul sand. So here we go. What do we got? Oh, I don't want to talk about that yet. Don't look at the red things. That's a spoiler. The fire is still default. The bone block I did a long time ago. Actually, it's everything in here except the glowstone is mine. Oh, don't look at the basalt yet either. So soul soil and soul sand. The soul sand has the 3 faces, the ghostly faces on them. I made them very subtle, but they're there. If you look, it kind of has a bit of a pattern from different angles, which I like. So if you look at it flat on like this, there's one pattern to it. If you look down like this, there's another pattern. If you turn, there's another pattern, slightly diagonal. I love it. So there you go. You can see your faces in there. Depends how you look at it. And I want it to be very subtle. because it's not like, you know, the bones of people. It's their soul, right? It's the paranormal aspect of it coming through. So it's very subtle, but it's definitely there. And then, of course, it's real soil and sand for my textures. And then here's the soul So it's pretty much the same, except for the paranormal aspect of the faces or the soul coming through. So very close, very subtle, hard to tell the difference. They did that on purpose. But the soil is real mud textures. And then this is real mud as well with faces in it. So there are your soul sands. I also wanted to show you the enchantment. I think I still have my boots on. Yep. So the soul enchant. If you enchant your boots with soul speed 3 or whatever, you run really fast in soul sand and soul soil. But then there's the particle. See the particle? The little brown faces turn into blue faces. So what I did for that, because no one's even going to notice that really, is I just smoothed out the textures. So if you stop a second and watch the faces come up, there you go. There's a good way to see it. They're a little less blocky than the default. I just smoothed out the default. So again, very subtle. No one's ever really going to notice, but there you go. What is next? Ooh, now we go to the Crimson Forest. All right, we're going to sneak up on the Crimson Forest and talk about everything, every single block I've done or redone, except for the lava, of course. That's still Redcraft. But let's talk about everything. What should we start with here? Let's talk about the Nylium, which is the stuff on the ground. So it is another rack with a growth over it. I'm not going to tell you how he did. This is a real photo of real life stuff. I'm not going to tell you what I did though, because it'll ruin the effect. It is not cake frosting, I'll tell you that much. But it's still netherrack if you look from the side here, and then you look at the top through the holes, it's still on top of netherrack. It's just a growth on top of netherrack. So I'm quite happy with that. There's a pattern to it, but it's diagonal, so it's fine, I think. Moving along, there's a crimson stem. Okay, so we gotta talk about this. This whole mushroom tree thing, it all works together. So the stem is, let me put one in my inventory here. So the stem comes out of the growth. So this stuff here, right, this growth, if it left too long, or it's like in the perfect conditions, you get a growth, and you get the stem, which is like the mushroom stem, okay? And then that, the animated veins, it's drawing the fungus, like the liquid blood of the fungus, up over and into the stem with some dirt particles in there, all the way up, and it creates the nether wart blocks, right? That's what those are, nether wart blocks. And that is how the tree is fed and how the tree grows, right? So let's put a stem down for a second here. If you were to chop it down, you get this texture, right? If you were to, you know, pop open or rip open a mushroom, you get this exact texture. So that's kind of what that is, or maybe that is what that is. I'm not going to tell you. So there's the inside of your stem right there. Now, that being said, if you do some things to the stem, you get the woods, which we'll talk about in a future episode. We're not going to talk about that today. But the stem, the outside, the inside, and the veins that are animated, alrighty, goes up to the nether wart block. I did not redo my nether wart texture because I really love my nether wart texture. If I can find it among all this stuff, I really love my nether wart texture. So I'm not going to change it. But if you've forgotten what it looks like this, right? So somehow this awesome texture for nether wart looks like this when it's packed up tight, I guess. Anyway, so it's going to be that way. I tried using my original nether wart block texture. Just looks like grandma's bed sheets, which is terrible. Grandma's linens. So we're going to go with this for nether wart. It has like a warty, fruity appearance to it, but apparently when it's growing, it looks like that. Alrighty, and it's fed from this Nylium, which makes the stems grow, and the blood of the Nylium feeds another wart. Alrighty, so then when you have pieces hanging down, you get the vines, which they call, what do they call it? They call it weeping vines. And that's what this is. Here, I'll turn that off so you can have a peek at that. Alrighty, there are your vines. The Nylium that doesn't grow into a stem, you know, might look like this, right? What do they call that? They call that the crimson roots, okay? So either the roots of these are coming up to make more stems, or the Nylium tried to grow into a stem, but there's already one next to it, So it just left it roots. That's what that is. And then sometimes it's a defect and it's just a nasty looking mushroom. Alrighty. So the last thing, come on. The last thing, actually there are two more things, but the last thing about this biome are the Shroom Lights, which I made Shroom Lights. Why is my child yelling? I'm sorry if you can hear that. I made Shroom Lights. I took mushrooms and made them into lights. See how that works? Awesome. So the last thing to show you is the crimson roots. You can plant them. You can put them in a pot, and you can actually plant them. So on the ground, they look like the coral fans, but if you want to plant one, it looks like that. So there you go. So that is everything. Everything from the what is it? It's the Crimson Forest. So let me clean up my mess here. There's a Crimson Forest for you. So let's have a nice distant look at it so you can see how it blends in with the nether but stands out so you know it's there. And it looks like the gas likes it too. Look at that. Every single texture has been done. I can't believe it. I'm so happy with it. But I'm even happier with the Warped Forest. So let's go there next. Alright, so let's sneak up on a Warped Forest. Look at this. I'm so happy with this. It's very blue, but these are the actual original colors. The Crimson Forest are not the original colors. I made some changes, some artistic decisions, artistic direction. But for the Warped Forest, it is original colors. So where do we begin with this? Well, let's start on the ground again. Actually, let's get rid of all this nasty junk that we don't need. I guess we needed that pot again for something else. Where's the pot? Pot. There you go. Alright, let's see. Let's start with the ground. The Nylium. The Warped Nylium. Again, there's kind of a diagonal pattern, but that's on purpose, because if there's no pattern at all and it's all solid, it just looks cartoonish. So again, this is a real life photo of something. I won't tell you what it is because it'll ruin the effect, but that's real life. And it's, again, same thing, right? It's built on top of the netherrack, and you can see it if you look in the right spots on the sides and the top. And again, it grows, and if it doesn't grow into a stem, it grows into these things here. But sometimes it grows into an actual stem. Or actually, sometimes this too, right? Sometimes this is like a stem that didn't grow from the stuff on the ground. This is starting to try to grow stuff on the ground. But it grows into a stem. Again, I'm trying to find a good example here. This is such a thick forest. Here we go. Grows into a stem. And the gooey bloodness of the ground of the Nylium goes up the stem and feeds the block. So we get a warped block, right? Warped block. It's kind of a busy pattern. It's a little busier and more pattern-like than the nether wart, but I didn't want to copy the nether wart and have it just a different color. I wanted it to be very different. So that's how I ended up with that. I actually had a whole bunch of tries and I settled on this one. I had solid colors. I had lightly gradiented colors where it's like solid for the most part but shaded. I'm like, no, we need something very different from the nether wart, and it's a busy pattern, I agree, but I like it a lot. So just like the stem in the Crimson Forest, the stem here, if you pop open a mushroom, you get the inside, which looks like that. And we will talk about the woods again, but in a different video. So what else? Here you get a different kind of vines. Instead of vines growing off the tree-like things, you get these vines that grow up. These are your twisting vines, I think they're called. Yep, there's your twisting vines. I made a different color on purpose. I wanted it to be very different and stand out. For example, if you look over here. Oh, look at that. I get to do blackstone next. And there's basalt. That's going to be a different video. And you can see them. They're growing different color. That's on purpose. Again, Shroom Light. There you go. Looks different. See, it's the same Shroom Light texture, even though it looks different because of the colors. So what else? What am I missing? I'm missing some stuff, I think. Yes, we need the roots, which is this one, because we can plant those as well. And they look like that. Isn't that cool? So let's see, going down my list, we did the Nylium and the stem and the block and the roots and the potted roots and the fungus. Not the fungus, we're going to do that next. The sprouts, that's the little things. And the twisting vines, which are these tall things. We talked about it much more quickly than the Crimson Forest, but it's the exact same concept, just different colors. We have one more thing to talk about, which is the mushroom, where was one? I saw a couple of them, and here we go. These purple things, I made the warped mushrooms purple. Again, that's a real life photo of something. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it'll totally ruin the effect. Let's just say my 11-year-old gets complete credit for that. And there you go. And then sometimes you get the crimson roots in there too. This is how they grow. But there you go. Isn't that cool? I love it so much. I cannot believe I did that. So that is all the other stuff I want to show you. We kind of went through quickly, but you can just rewind the tape if you want to see it in more detail. Ask me for the texture pack if you want to have a peek at it. However, everybody that I've been sending the texture pack to, those of you who are watching, you will get the updated version. I just want to get, I just have a few things left. I have all the woods, which won't be too bad, the black stones, and then maybe the armor. That's all I have left, and then I'll send everybody the texture pack links, the new links. If you want ahead of time, let me know, but if you don't mind waiting until it's completely done, it'll be done. Well, it'll be a couple weeks yet because of a vacation, but other than that, it'll be done soon. And just look at how nice this looks with the full anti-aliasing with Optifine. Oh my gosh, what a difference does that make? Even if you don't run any mods at all, you should still have Optifine. Then you can run like a blank empty shader pack with super high anti-aliasing. So anyway, I already told you kind of what we have to look forward to next. The woods, the stones, the basalt, and maybe the armor. I don't know how I'm going to do armor. I'm not good at it. I did do a turtle helmet, and it looks awful, but I like it. So I don't know about armor. But otherwise, we're pretty much done. I cannot believe how much of this NETHER stuff I did. So I just want to make sure we're looking at, yeah, everything in here is mine except the lava is Redcraft and the glowstone is Redcraft. Otherwise, everything in here is mine. I can't believe it. I'm so proud of myself because I really have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I'm not really a doctor. I play one on TV. Well, I'm not really a graphic artist. I just play one in Minecraft. So that is it for me today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please subscribe so you can get more texture pack updates. Let me know if you want the texture or if you're just going to wait until I'm done. And instead of repeating myself like usual, I'll just see you next time.